Państwu przyjemnej podróży.
Dzień dobry Państwu.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The best introduction of our star, the guest of today, will be best made by our guest himself. I have met many people in my life representing many branches, but he, despite his huge success, he is still himself. And he's such a great guy, and you can always count on him. I have never met a person like him. So let's give him a round of applause to our honorary Łódź resident, citizen, Marcin Gortat. I was wondering, Marcin, what should I ask you about? Because any topic you are involved in could be discussed for hours. But let's get back to my brief presentation of you, because it's unique and it can be quite interesting. So, how did it happen that despite huge sports business success and other types of success, where a fraction of the success would turn other people into very vain people, you still have remained the guy from Łódź who after 6 p.m. on Sunday goes to play in a local playground. So you're still a great guy, and I can always count on you. I do hope that you will join us during the weekend football pitch, because we are missing some players. Seriously, a group of people who support me have helped me to remain myself. Many people wouldn't like to cooperate with me and would like to maintain any relations with me if I started to be vain and if I started to do weird things. What's of key importance is that I had very good mentors, coaches who influenced my personality, who have developed my position not only as a basket player, but also as a man. The late Brendan Ballon, the coach who died last year, did a great job for over 5 years when I was in Orlando Magic. And every time when we were finishing warm-up before the match, before the game, we were sitting next to each other. Of course, I was very tired and sweaty, and he kept repeating, "Young man, you are doing a great job, but remember that this work is not over once the practice, the training is over. So you still have to do a lot of things during the day." At the end of the season, he approached me and said, "You had great 9 months. The result you have achieved is great. Now we need you to go back home, to go to Łódź." And he was saying, "Go back to Lodz and do something nice for your parents, because they've brought you up, they've given you life, and they have done everything they could to make sure that you are strong and healthy, and today you can make your dreams come true." So he has shaped my personality, and my colleagues from NBA have also made sure that I was following the right path. And we are trying to have the same spirit developed in our spirit. So tell us a bit more try to formulate a prescription how to remain a normal person, because we are often saying this, that somebody wins an election, becomes a successful businessman, and all of a sudden this person, as if goes through magic gate, stops receiving telephone calls, becomes a Zeus from the Olympus mountain. It seems that somebody did a ingenious work on you. So what's this prescription? What would you recommend? You need to remember those who have helped you most. You cannot forget about your roots, where you come from. I was always happy to identify myself with Łódź and with Poland. Some people do not believe this. On my chest, I have a tattoo of the Łódź emblem. Well, we should ask you to show it. Well, I would have to get under. So I've got a tattoo on my chest, and it presents aspects of our city, including the monument from the Liberty Square. So these are the things which were very important value to me. They are life values. I come back to it. For the first few years, I lived in a block of flats where I was brought up. And a long time ago, I told my mom, here is the money. You have to find me a flat in this block of apartment. But if you like, you can buy a beautiful apartment somewhere else. But then I really wanted to stay in Bałuty. So my new flat was very close. So when I came back from the United States, I decided that I do not know how to move around that apartment. So I had to get a bigger accommodations. Jagiełło district in Bałuty district in Łódź has just received a great PR advertisement. An anecdote from the times of my career. So there was the time my mom purchased 12 or 13 flats. So he's the owner of this district. So I bought several flats in Jagiełło district. I was a young businessman at the time, and I thought it was the best investment at the time. So in that district, there was a sports facility and recreation facility. So it was quite old and it had to be modernized. So a council of the district gathered to have a vote what should be done with this facility, whether we should renovate it, turn it into a gym, or maybe it should be a home for senior citizens, for them to meet and have nice time. So there was this vote. Many people voted. There was a group of seniors, a group of young people, and young people wanted to have a gym, and seniors wanted to have this center, this home. So the votes were more or less equal. Seniors maybe had a small advantage, and then my mom came to the speaker's box, and the seniors were saying, "Okay, we will have our facility," but she said, "I have to vote for the gym because my son has to have a place to do the practice." And that was the time when people started hating my mom. But then my mom said, "Okay, if I only meet them during church service." So that was the times related with Łódź, Bałuty, and we still do a lot of things in Łódź, and I'm happy that the city is involved in these initiatives. The description of your mom indicates that there is a future for her in the city council. Maybe we will discuss it further. But let's touch upon a topic that is related with our conversation. So you are very strongly involved with time and money, but still it's not it's not so common that people get involved into social activities, education of young people. So you are among the avant-garde. So tell me why. What do you want to achieve through this attitude? Because you spend a lot of time and efforts and resources. It's incredible. I have always been interested what your main mission is. It's obvious, the mission is obvious. So I wanted to help people because I received a lot of help, and I would like to support young basketball players and sportsmen. Then I was also very satisfied. It gave me a lot of satisfaction if you organize some events. Children approach you to say thank you. Parents also approach you and say, what you have said to my child is very important and it will impact his or her future. Marcin Gortat has told the child something, and the behavior of the child can change. So lots of benefits result, not financial one, of course, result from this help. So you get to know great people. It provides you with a lot of opportunities. I also have cooperation with the army. So I organize events for soldiers. So the time when soldiers invite you to their base and they are showing me how they work, and they are offering to conduct a practice training together. So it is great for me. Not everything I'm involved in is my achievement, because I often provide my name to the events. But I also recently we've done some orientation training for young sportsmen. So training on diets, meetings with psychologists, sexologists, business training, media training, how to give an interview, which position should people take when they are interviewed. So it has opened up a lot of opportunities to the children. I'm not an expert in these fields. I have quite a lot of knowledge on basketball, but we invite experts to deliver lectures to assist us. So very often events using my name, but it doesn't mean that I practically conduct these events. As I have said, these events make me very happy. We do not mention all the activities because we do not have this. So reveal a secret on some of your activities, projects. My biggest dream, just give us a context. Not so long ago, if you know basketball, Dikembe Mutombo died. A great basketball player, playing in 1990s. He died just several days ago. Rest in peace, Dikembe. And he had a hospital in Africa built. There is no Africa in Poland, of course, but it would be incredible to have a children's hospital built where we could care for children. It would be the last gem in my crown. But of course, you need a lot of money to deliver such a project, and I cannot afford it. But if my businesses go in the right directions, if I have the right partners, maybe this hospital will be built, and it will be my last project. It will be the greatest dream that would come true. I think that we will be able to help. We can think of a coalition. Be careful, because you are filmed. When I look at the logo of the Freedom Games and the partners, I think we can start the preparatory work. Your philanthropic and social engagement. How do you think? Would you share one story when you managed to provide your inspiration and example, and you have saved someone from bad circumstances. Yes, I have experienced such cases, such events. I delivered all types of support, but there is no need to talk about it. Just to let you know how it works. In many events, we are having partners, and the partners expect some exposure, some display, and sometimes we have to boast. This is when we need media, this is when we need promotion, some display, some post in social media, because this is the role of cooperation between myself and potential partners. Then you need some social exposure. But of course, there are cases when people need help. We help, but we do not talk about this. It wouldn't be nice. Once upon a time, I paid for a surgery of a child, knee surgery, to help this child to walk. I think 120,000 zlotys was transferred. It was one-time transfer, and then everybody was talking about it, and I gave 2 or 3 interviews, and it was unnecessary, so it raised a negative response. So I was sorry. I regretted that I decided to speak with media about it. So sometimes we do not speak about such cases, and there's no need to do it. I would like now to get back to Łódź. When you were leaving the city, these were not the times of the best prosperity of Łódź. So you went to the United States when the situation of Poland was difficult. Not just Łódź was in a different place, but the whole country. I lived for quite a while away from Poland, and when I perceive Poland in the context of the progress it has made, both from the perspective of Łódź and Poland, I think that Polish people sometimes do not notice or forget this great journey we have made. What a wonderful progress we have achieved. So you left Poland for the USA. So you've got a global perspective, you act locally, but you have this helicopter view. How do you perceive Łódź and Poland in the perspective of the last decades? Your second home is in the United States, and you also know what is going on in the United States. Very soon there will be election. So what is your perception of Łódź from this global perspective? Of course, you cannot compare the city of Łódź to the cities in the United States, Orlando in Florida or Los Angeles in California, because they are huge cities with a completely different budgets, populations. So when I take the time perspective and my involvement in the event and sports sector, now we have just come back from Ukraine, where I delivered humanitarian aid for Ukrainians and Polish soldiers. And when you come back to Łódź and when you take a look at the infrastructure, which is probably number 1, I will just explain what I'm talking about.
Stadiony piłkarskie.
We've got 2 football stadiums. We've got Atlas Arena facility, a small sports hall which can hold 3,000 spectators, new motor racing stadium, aqua park with swimming pools. we've got Zatoka Sportu, which is a sports facility, and lots of smaller facilities, such as the one in Małachowskiego, where you can play or train. When you go to other cities in Poland, there are no such opportunities, and the same applies to Warsaw. Torwar is the largest sports hall. The one in Ursynów can hold 1,500 spectators, and that's only one side. And Poland's basketball cup is held there. We're having election to the basketball board. So this shows that we've got two football teams. Basketball ŁKS team was promoted to the second league. We've got handball teams. And considering sports infrastructure, Łódź is on a very high position. I'm not telling it because we do have a representative of the city authority, but many streets have been reconstructed, many buildings were renovated. It hampers traffic, but it needs to happen. You cannot do certain things overnight without any major disturbance. Łódź has changed a lot. I remember when I was leaving the city, the buildings were completely different. I remembered Ukraine. When we went to Kiev, it was civilized, but further to the Russian side, it's like a place with no civilization. We were traveling through different cities, and I remembered my childhood. So on the one hand, it was great, but now we appreciate what we have in Łódź. And honestly speaking, when I could see a boy with a spray trying to paint a newly renovated wall, I'd go mad. This city looks great. Piotrkowska city center, these small streets in its vicinity look really great. So let's respect it and let's appreciate it. I would like to come back to your global perspective. Owing to my late father, I spent some months in the USA. I remember leaving Łódź. The USA was a country of myth, that the American dream can still happen there. Disappointment is too big a word, but the construction of the myth was a bit painful. Once I compare some American cities or the USA as a place to live, a social model, and I juxtapose it with Poland or Europe, in many cases, we have plenty of reasons to be proud of, but the USA is like the unique place where innovations are born, where large corporations come from, which are the pillar of the global security. Once you compared the two places, advantages and disadvantages, where is it better to live? From the business point of view, startups, USA. First of all, because we have to take a look at its grandness. If an idea for a startup is successful in one place and it acquires hundreds of users, it spreads all over America. Over half of the states have the size of Poland. This shows how big the country is. So if something is successful in Poland, you need to go to other member states, which is not easy. In the USA, it's much easier to disseminate the idea through the states. Even if you consider taxation differences, it's still easier. A startup which grows in Poland versus the one which grows in the USA are unmatchable. This is an American startup which can potentially dominate or conquer the world. And this offers more advantages. We need to remember that America has its problems. The disadvantages, if you come to Los Angeles and you've got a sightseeing plan, typically you want to go to Venice Beach, Malibu, Hollywood sign, watch Lakers match. I'll tell you what it looks like. I told it to 4 people, and unfortunately 4 people were robbed. If you go there and you're robbed, you'll join this group, so be careful, which won't happen in the Jagiełło district. One of the terrifying things is something that gives food for thought. Once you come to LA, go to downtown to see the village of the homeless. It's not a tourist place. It's nothing nice to look at. People live in tents in the city center. It's terrifying, but nobody tells about it. So there are some flaws, some disadvantages, lots of veterans. Even considering the governmental schemes for soldiers and veterans coming up from missions, there are many soldiers standing at crossroads and begging for money or for support. These are the disadvantages. Fortunately, we do not have such problems, or if they do exist, they are quite rare. The internal political war in America is 10 times greater than in us. Taxes. Remember that in cities such as New York, California, you pay over 50%. So if you think that taxes in Poland are cruel, come to America and you'll discover what it is like to pay over 50%. So if you have to pay 19 or 23% in Poland, you smile. Well, so Osiedle Jagiełły is much better than LA. I wouldn't expect to say it. So my self-esteem has grown. Despite the passing time and the changing world, there are lots of myths. We have recently had Draghi's report, the Italian financial genius and an experienced EU politician, who said that once Europe does not change and doesn't start investing in innovation, it will lose its position in global competition versus USA and China. Not entering politics. Is there any pattern which we could copy to our Polish reality? Any best practice we could learn as Łódź and Poland? %5 GDP is spent on the army. We should spend more, and I think we might need it one day, considering our military situation. It's going to increase. Let's take a look at what Israel did in Washington. I was the coach assistant, and there was a basketball player, Danny Avdia from Israel. He asked me, "Have you ever been to the army?" No, I haven't, because I left to play professionally to Germany. Yeah, but I was brought up in Bałute district, so it's more than the army. And now, considering the training I do with Polish army, I've done my service. But considering and remembering our conversation with Danny, he had to go to a 3-month military training, even though he professionally played basketball. I suppose it would be a reasonable thing to do such training, as the upcoming years can be interesting but dangerous. I don't want to scare anybody, but getting ready for it could help us. So what we could be inspired with from America, apart from military passion and opportunities, well, giving more opportunities to startups, not to block any programs that ambitious business people would like to introduce. Business people and many young investors would like to establish businesses, but typically it's so interrelated that if someone from the top political level is not a part of the board, the business won't function. I could see such examples myself. That's life. But if our regulations were less stringent, we could do more in Poland. Now I would like to move on to the topic, which is personally important for me, but the perspective is not obvious. It's my wife's perspective. I've got a great wife. However, don't want to talk about her. She's a psychotherapist. She works in a hospital and she deals with mental health. There is no other thing that turns her on more than seeing on the net or in a public space various recipes or guidelines of coaches who say, wake up at 5, drink a spirulina cocktail, take cold shower, you'll be successful, you will earn a lot of money, and you're going to be ingenious. Simple answers to difficult questions. I can see her being infuriated, and I suppose I should run for my life if someone gives you recipes for being wealthy. You achieved a huge success, an unprecedented success for Poles. You achieved a lot in your field and in businesses. We do not have many people like that. If you were to share your experience of a successful person and not person writing books about success and coaching, what do you think? What are the features, the factors or experiences which, regardless of your profession, whether you're a sports person, a politician, maybe do not guarantee, but are the prerequisites for success? You once said there were many talented boys with high skills, but Marcin Gortat is Marcin Gortat. Well, I do agree with your wife when it comes to coaching Beata. We say hello to you. We don't want to undermine the knowledge of those who have the knowledge based on their success, but there are lots of people who didn't do anything and consider themselves coaches or mentors. That's one thing. Any person who wants to be successful needs to ask the following question. Is the thing I want to achieve the thing I like it? Because if you have the passion, it will come much easier. It's easier to wake up in the morning, to work hard, and to overcome constraints and cross successive borders. Based on my success, I can say that it was always the most difficult thing to wake up in the morning and go to a sports hall where nobody can see you. People didn't see my hard work, that even though I use my right hand in everyday things, I trained my left hand. I didn't have motion coordination and lots of disasters, but I didn't give up. I kept on working. I didn't look at other people, but simply waited for the moment to stand in front of my opponents. When you train for 1, 2, 3 weeks, the end of season was in May, then 2-week break in June. From mid-June, I worked hard. Every single day I was sleeping there in the sports facility, but I wanted to do it. I was simply crazy to be better, not to have any weaknesses. When I used to watch my matches and could see a player covering 2-3 meters away from me, I thought he does not respect me because I should be able to succeed in throwing the ball. So it was like 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Then I learned to attack towards the basket. I had passion and I wanted to do it all day long. If I didn't have anything to do in the evening, I decided to go to the basketball court to train. Even during resting, I was thinking what I would do the following day, as I was looking forward to the next day, and I was so excited. Kobe Bryant used to wake up at night, 4 a.m., but he had his basketball court at home, so it was easier. His home was the size of a hypermarket. He used to wake up at 4, trained for some time, then slept, rested, and trained again. It was like a psychopathic approach to basketball. However, he was the best basketball player ever. So if you're obsessed with your field and want to achieve success, it will be easy for you to succeed. Certainly, you'll experience failures or things that you do not understand. However, in such cases, contact experts or successful people. The first thing I did when I used to come to the Polish teams meetings, I asked Adam Wojcik, the late Adam Wojcik, to tell me how to do it. But you're in NBA, so what? I want you to teach me. Andrzej Pluta, one of the greatest strikers in our history, I asked him to show me how to do it. Okay, but you've got 60 million contract. There's nothing wrong with your throws. But I said, I want to do it better. Show me how to do it. So it was easier for me to acquire the knowledge. I didn't have such an attitude. I'm from Bałuty, I'm from Jagiełło district, so I survived and nobody will teach me how to do it. You need to swallow your ego from time to time. Listen to someone's advice. Think what someone told you. Digest it. Come back to the basketball court and you say, right, coach, you were right. I'll try to follow your advice. I wanted to be inspired by authorities. I didn't buy any e-books or coaching lessons or tutorials. I simply learned from the best ones. I had the opportunity to meet some guys from the GROM unit. We asked about teamwork and cooperation. And the leader said the best striker, the best guy, the sixth one in my unit is most important. He needs to be at the same level. He needs to feel good He needs to have a good situation at home, knowing that when we go for a mission, he will take care of me and I will take care of him. The same applied to me. I was coming back to my team, approached the guy from Africa, and although he didn't speak English, I asked, "How are you? Do you understand what we do on the basketball court?" So I said, "Okay, let's repeat it." And I spent 10, 15, 20 minutes teaching him how to do it. Then, when we were away, played in Washington and flew to Los Angeles, he was the only one staying in a hotel while 14 other players visited restaurants, clubs, discos, and he was the only one who stayed there. I was the leader, took him, and he didn't speak English, so invited him to go with us because he was a part of our team.
Czy od każdej organizacji, jaką napotykałem w moim
And I've learned it from everyone and from each organizations I have met. I have learned a lot from the special services, from veterans, from business people. The time is running. Steven Ballmer. Do you know Steven Ballmer? The guy from Microsoft. Well done. You've done your homework. So Steven Ballmer was the Clippers boss. I will tell you how it is in NBA. To become NBA owner, well, there can be only one owner, but not more than 25 people. So one person gives, someone gives 200 million, others 300 million, others give 2 billion, and we buy players, and we've got NBA team, and we earn money on the team. Then Ballmer came, 2.5 billion was in his pocket, and he bought Los Angeles Clippers and Lakers. So they play in the same hall. So Ballmer is sitting, the game is played, and the manager is keeping the game, and Ballmer is asking, "What's this yellow T-shirt over there?" And so it's Kobe Bryant's T-shirt because they have left the T-shirts here. And why these T-shirts are here? Because it's their hall. Because we play in the same hall together. How is it possible? Because we don't have our own hall. And he said, "Okay, build a hall." So the other $2 billion was contributed to build a hall. Do you have any business links with him? Because he could help us. Actually, then I was transferred from Washington to Los Angeles Clippers. So we're having dinner before the season. So some 340 people, players, physiotherapists, physicians, securities, head bosses sitting at the table, and Ballmer was sitting opposite to me, and he said, let's get to know one another. Tell me briefly about yourself, 2 or 3 sentences. Tell me about yourself. So first we will say it, and then we have dinner. So say something I don't know about you. Tell me what you deliver for our team. And the third thing, what's the target aim of our team? So everybody was standing up. Many people were very open, provided a lot of details. So 39 people were left, and Ballmer didn't say anything. But so I told him, please, there are 3 questions, please answer them at the very end. He said, if you want to meet with me, if you want to talk about something, let me know. From 40 people, only 1 person has raised his hand. It was me. So I could meet then. I think it was the 12th richest man in the world, the 12th. No, I think he's the 4th or the 5th. So I had an hour and a half with him. He came to our sports facility in his helicopter. He had this big ketchup, tomato sauce stain on his T-shirt, really grotty shoes. It doesn't matter that he's worth $72 billion now. But so I told him, Mr. Ballmer, maybe we will sit down. So I said, okay, go and grab something to eat. We will sit in a conference room, and we spent 90 minutes together. I was asking him different questions on startups, on my investments, and he was telling me, okay, this is good job, this should be changed, you should change the supervisory board here, you should employ this person or that person. So I was making notes. It was great. So in these 90 minutes, just tell us about one sentence. So obsession and madness are the characteristics. Well, he said one thing, and I know many business people will disagree. He said there shouldn't be a situation in your life, in your situation, that you should have something using credit. Houses, cars, you should not borrow credits because let's say something costs 100 zlotys. If you pay it with your money, it's 100 zlotys. But if you use credit, it's 110 zlotys. It's the same with houses. If you buy a house worth 1 million, you have to pay 2 million. So you are losing money when you are using credits. So many business people have these wrong assumptions. Of course, we realize that I'm an NBA player and I can afford such costly investments, but very often people have to use credits because they have no other way out. He also told me not to invest aggressively. The only financial aggression is 5-10%. The remaining money should just rest, shouldn't be invested. Let's finish the topic of Mr. Ballmer. Until today, he keeps sending me text messages. He's really crazy. And he's writing me, great game, you were a great player yesterday, but we lost. But in 2 days, we are meeting them again. He doesn't even realize that I stopped playing basketball 5 years ago. He's probably sure, it's maybe funny, but maybe not funny, that I'm in a restaurant and I'm getting a text from him, and he writes me that you played a great game. And yesterday I was in a local Łódź pitch where I had a great game. So Mr. Ballmer has not deleted my number. That's why he keeps confusing me with another NBA player. And it's like with these ambulances that were brought from the pitch. It was great. So there was probably keepers and Lakers could provide similar emotions. So if you are in touch with Mr. Ballmer and he can invest $4 billion, please invite him to Łódź. I will definitely bring him to Jagiełło residential district. We slowly need to close our conversation, but maybe some questions from the audience. You are our great Łódź asset. We have a very close cooperation. We deliver joint projects. I am happy that we've done so much, but I'm not quite convinced that we are using you as our asset in 100%. I'm not only talking about Łódź perspective, but also the Polish one. How do you think what we as the Łódź authorities or Poland authority, what should we do to have some benefits from the Gortat brand? Well, I'm not going to tell you because it would involve traveling and events. Okay, I will keep playing my game. But probably the Polish Association of Basketball is not interested in cooperation with me. And this is really strange because naturally, due to my career and my involvement with NBA, we could do a lot together. But hopefully, tomorrow during the vote for the president of this association, the situation will change. When it comes to Łódź, we should develop an agenda, strategy for the next years. Potentially, we should consider some joint events in which I could help you, could provide you with my brand to promote Poland or Łódź worldwide. I am a well-recognized person in Poland. I am recognized even better in the States or in China. Basketball in China is treated like a religion. So it will depend what Łódź needs. So we need to discuss it. I'm open to such discussions. And if you have something I could include in my agenda, it's possible. Okay, we will involve you. We will involve you after telling you about it. I promise. So we are running out of time. Questions. Jakub Kochowicz, I wanted to get back to one aspect concerning failures. We know that every success really involves failures. I like a quotation from a movie that states that failure is a fertilizer for success. So I wanted to ask you, how did you cope with failures and what to do to make sure that failures are fertilizers, that they stimulate us to further work to attain success? There are different failures in our lives, and we need to approach each failure appropriately. I will give you an example of a failure during a game. In my case, that was the failure which had to be resolved as, I will use the quotation by Mr. Probierz. So he said that there is nothing else to do than go back home and have a shot of whiskey. So during one season, I was playing about 120 games, and if I get into details and consider what happened between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m., if you behave like this failure will destroy you. So if a failure happens, go back home and do something you like, have a beer, whiskey, play a computer game, watch a movie, or just sit in silence, analyze it for a couple of minutes, become aware what went wrong, and close this issue. But then there are also business failures. I had a business failure once. I invested $130,000 and I lost this money. It was very painful. What did you invest in? A startup. It was a startup. But please let it not prevent you from establishing startup companies. Of course, I analyzed that failure. It was hard to come to terms with it, and I decided that I will never invest with people whom I don't know and with people who are who are quite stupid. And I will never invest in organizations that do not have proper management. Warren Buffett used to say, do not invest in things you do not understand. So if you remember these fundamentals, I didn't prepare any audiobooks, any lectures via YouTube. This is my experience. So you need to keep an eye on these things. I will repeat, if you want to invest with someone, first ask him about this personal identification number. So get this number, have economic surveillance, and see what kind of a businessman this is. Who is the person you are talking with? If you discover that this person is indebted, that he has some court cases and some enforcement procedures are implemented, so probably this is not a good business partner. But if you discover that this is the person who works on different supervisory boards, companies, probably this is someone who is the right person to work with you. You have to analyze failures, you have to avoid them, and work on yourself. If you don't understand something, meet with the people who will explain this to you. They will tell you how it works. It doesn't matter whether it's basketball or business or just in our personal life. If we fail, speak to those who can speak with you. I have such people around me very often. There are some strangers who try to tell me what I should do. And then I ask them, do you know me? Do you know what I do, what I like? So you need to know who you should speak with if you have a failure, if you suffer failure. One more question. Chicago Bulls fan is among us, so some hostile audience. Good that this NBA competition is not as strong as in Łódź. I have two questions. I would like to ask Marcin for a reflection. Conversation is nice and positive, but we remember of this association that hopefully will change tomorrow. Don't you think that you have crossed this magic line Mr. Mayor mentioned, this magic gate? Philip Koenig, who is a candidate to the president of this association. Maybe you do not fit the structure that has developed for decades, and maybe you are far ahead. So I don't know whether it will work. And the second question is there a chance? Do you think of having an NBA game playing in Atlas Arena? I will start with the second question. Stephen Ballmer. We do not want to have an NBA game in Atlas Arena. I have to be honest. Speak for yourself. Okay, I will evolve. NBA game, how it works. It was explained to me because we were quite close to invite NBA to Poland. So we found some state treasury companies that were ready to pay for this. So before an NBA team comes, let's say a game, if we start negotiations today and we sign the contract today, probably the game would be played in 2027. Before we reach 2027, NBA sent the team of people to Poland and potentially all the sponsors' agreements will expire. So until 2027, they will make a ton of events which possibly will not be a sort of development for Polish young people. Recently, we've had this project, the Basketball Without Borders. It was great that some 60, 80 children took part in this training, but only 4 children were from Poland. other children were from other countries. It's great that Poland hosted this event. It's a good promotion for Poland, but only 4 Poles participated, and it does not raise the standard of Polish basketball. So the game will be played in 27, and in the next 3 years, based on the nature of this game, how many people have become excited about the game, NBA will again get rid of all the sponsors who will be ready to invest in basketball. So it would be negative impact on Polish basketball. I have never thought about it this way. That's why I'm educating you. Polish teams that could receive funding for training, we would block the basketball market for 6 years. Okay, we have to close the interview. And the first question. Well, I do not fit because I'm always very open. I will always use facts when I speak during such meetings. Polish Association of Basketball was taking a lot of money, and it's dividing the Polish basketball players. So it's it's a situation I could compare to someone who goes to prison for committing an offense, and we are sorry that he is sitting in prison. Philip Koenig has a good know-how. We had this catastrophic mentality of the members, but we keep fighting. We have support of the head office, so hopefully this association will become flexible again. I believe that if Philip Koenig from Łódź, if he becomes the head of the Polish Association of Basketball, I will help him as much as I can. He's got a team of people who want to support him to have a rebirth of the Polish basketball. This is our goal for the next few years. Marcin, thank you for the conversation. Great round of applause to the honorary citizen of Łódź.
Nadzwyczajna kasa.
Obrażanie dziennikarz telewizji polskiej.
Chodzi o działania polityczne.
Przygotowanie ofiar dla pedofilów.
Für Deutschland.
TVP Info. Włącz się na nowo.
Radość, nadzieja, życie, wyzwanie, pasja, pamięć, zaufanie, pokój, jedność. Słowa tworzą świat. Polskie Radio. Źródło wiarygodnych informacji.
Plany biznesowe powstają z marzeń. Dlatego nie ma 2 takich samych firm. Jedni chcą działać na całym świecie. Innym cały świat mieści się w dłoni. Sukces biznesu to nie tylko jego wielkość, ale też szczęście, jakie przynosi ludziom. PKO Bank Polski.
Uwielbiam szycie w sieci. Wczoraj podszyłem się pod wnuczka, wieczorem uszyłem intrygę na apce randkowej, a dziś planuję grubymi nićmi szyte oszustwo z promocją. Tak się szyje.
Na oszustów są sposoby. Zapoznaj się z poradami ekspertów na niedajsiepodszyć.pl.
It's not always easy to recognize. It may look like this, or like this. It may be a burden, but it is a responsibility that we embrace nonetheless. But if it means this for one person and this for someone else, maybe it ultimately means being there for one another. It isn't handed to us, but we know where to find it. feels, how it tastes, and what it sounds like when we finally have it. It means different things to different people, but for many, it means everything. And if we all fight for it, it will eventually bring us together.
Ihre Ausreise.
Polskie Radio.
Jedynka.
Rodzina spółek Pelion to 12 000 osób pracujących w ponad 300 spółkach w Polsce, Szwecji, Wielkiej Brytanii i na Litwie. Jesteśmy liderem w branży ochrony zdrowia. Od 1990 roku dbamy o długość i jakość życia. Pracować z nami możesz w jednym z 7 obszarów.
Zapraszamy do Trójki. Od nowa.
Trójka. Program Trzeci Polskiego Radia.
Czy wytrzymasz klockowe tortury? Ze stoickim spokojem. Czy w twardych negocjacjach zachowasz zimną krew? Czy poddasz się dobrowolnej eksmisji ze swojego łóżka? Brawo! Test na obecność serca zaliczony. To znaczy, że ty też możesz być rodzicem zastępczym. Dowiedz się jak na testserca.pl.